Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for having me to your wonderful primary school, Red Swastika. My name is Neil Humphreys, and I'm Singapore's best-selling author. And today I'm going to tell you about all my children's books, but more importantly, give you some tips on how to improve your writing. It's going to be lots of fun, lots of funny stories along the way. And if you have any questions you want to ask me, remember them, and then maybe afterwards I will come to your classroom and you can ask me directly. Okay, so we're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about lots of interesting things, and I'm going to tell you how I came up with lots and lots of funny ideas for all of my children's books. As you can see there, I've written 21 different books in Singapore, and most of them are for you, for children. And today I'm going to give you tips with funny stories about how you can improve your writing. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, yes, here we go. Right. This will prove to you straight away that funny stories are everywhere around you. That there, some of you may know, some of you may not, but it's a true story that was in one of my books. One day, a long time ago, when I used to be a teacher, a secretary from the general office in Singapore called me up and said, "Can I speak to Mr. Hemphreys?" That's my name, Hemphreys. But they didn't say Hemphreys. They said, "Mr. Hemphreys. Can I speak to Mr. Hemphreys?" And all the secretaries started laughing. And I didn't know why, because I didn't know what Hemphreys was. But in Hokkien, Hemphreys means that. That is Hemphreys in Hokkien. In Hokkien, it means spittoon, spit bucket. So basically, the secretary at my general office was calling me Mr. Spit Bucket, Mr. Spittoon, Mr. Hemphreys. So the first thing I did when I got home, boys and girls, what do you think I did? I went home and I wrote the story down. Everything. Because funny stories are everywhere. Where are funny stories? Everywhere. That's right. So I went home and I wrote the whole story out. And then a very funny thing happened. I put the story down. I wrote it in one of my books. The book came out all over Singapore. And what do you think happened? I could not go anywhere in Singapore without someone calling me Mr. Hemphreys. Everywhere in Singapore, I would get stopped in the street, in the hawker center, at the MRT station, at the bus interchange. Everywhere in Singapore, someone would say, "It's Mr. Hemphreys, Mr. Spit Bucket." And then one day, this is a true story, I was in the Toa Payoh HDB hub in Singapore, very busy place in Singapore, and I was going up the escalator, and on the other escalator coming down, there was an uncle. He was about 70 plus, and he did this. He was on the escalator like this, and he went like this. Huh? It's you, Hemphreys. It's you, Hemphreys. It's you, Hemphreys, the funny one. Wow, you're so funny. You're so funny. You are that one, the Hemphreys, the Hemphreys. The Hemphreys, it's you. Hey, it's him, It's him, the spit bucket, the spit bucket, the one in the book. It's him, it's him, it's him. So everybody in the Toa Payoh hub started laughing. So what do you think I did when I went home that night? That's right, I wrote it down. I wrote out the whole story about the funny uncle on the escalator at Toa Payoh hub shouting, "Hey, it's you, Hemphreys, 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 it's you, the spit bucket, the spit bucket." I wrote it down because good stories are everywhere. Funny stories are everywhere. Where are funny stories? everywhere. And when you see them, you must remember them and you must write them down, okay? Notepad, on your phone, on your laptop, on your iPad, on a piece of paper, anything. Funny stories are everywhere. So when you see them, write them down. And I will prove it by telling you how I came up with my two books right here. Two books about a secret undercover princess who must leave her country because there's a civil war, like Captain America. And she must leave and hide in a new school, neighborhood school, like Red Swastika. And she must hide undercover in the school, a neighborhood school in the heartlands. And nobody can know that she is a princess. Nobody can know. And I got my stories from real life because funny stories are everywhere. Where are funny stories? Everywhere. That's right. And I'll prove it by telling you about the characters in my books. I needed a teacher, like your wonderful teachers at your school. I needed a teacher. And I like to get my stories from real life. So where do you think I got my teacher from? Who was the inspiration for my teacher? It was me. Correct. It was me. Because last time I used to be a teacher in Singapore. And I got the idea from a very funny story. This is a true story. It happened in my very first day, in my very first school in Singapore. I cannot say the name of the school because it's very funny and very embarrassing. I cannot say the name of the school, SCGS. But in that school, I was teaching 25 primary one girls, not boys, just girls. And if anybody in primary one or remembers primary one, when you teach 25 primary one girls, they only make one sound. Ah! That's it. That's primary one girls. 25 primary one girls for 1 hour make one sound. Ah! And your job as a teacher is to stop them saying, ah, so you can do some teaching. So my very first day in my very first Singapore school, I walk into the classroom, 25 primary one girls, and they all shout, ah! And then they did something so funny that I had to write it down. 25 primary one girls at the same time and in the same voice all stood up and they pointed at me and they shouted, "And more!" I was new in Singapore, so I didn't know what "ang mo" meant. I didn't know it meant white man. So I thought "ang mo" was the Chinese word for teacher. So when they got up and shouted, "Ang mo, ang mo, ang mo, ang mo," I thought they were saying, "Teacher, teacher, teacher, teacher." So I let them say it. And then you won't believe this, Red Swastika students, but it's true. All 25 primary one girls stood up and shouted, "Ang mo, ang mo, ang mo, ang mo." And then they started running towards me like this, so excited. I've never seen so many children so excited. They were like wildebeests in the African jungle, and I was the lion, and they were all chasing me at the same time. So imagine 25 wildebeest in the African jungle, all chasing you. But instead of roaring, they are shouting, "I'm more, I'm more, I'm more, I'm more, I'm more." And they run towards me. And you won't believe this, but it's true. The first girl from the school that I cannot name, SCGS. The first girl at the front, she said, hung more, hung more, hung more. And she did this, hung more, hung more. And she bit me. That is a true story, boys and girls. In my first ever Singaporean school, a primary 1 girl bit me on the side of the leg. And while she's biting me on the side of the leg, the other children are running around me saying, "Angmo, so taller, Angmo, so tall, Angmo, so taller." Round and around and around in circles. "Angmo, so taller." And the girl's biting my leg, and the children are singing, "Angmo, so taller, Angmo, so taller." I thought all Singaporean students were crazy. But that is a true story. And what do you think I did when I went home that night? What was the first thing I did? You can shout it out. Yes, I wrote it down, because funny stories are everywhere. Where are funny stories? I can hear them from here. Everywhere. That's right. Funny stories are everywhere. Do you know I can actually hear you from the library? Very good. I can hear you. Funny stories are everywhere. I can hear you. That's amazing. Funny stories are everywhere. So I had my teacher for my books. It was me, because real characters, funny stories are everywhere. But I needed to give my teacher a name. And this is also a true story. What was I going to call my teacher? True story. When I was your age, about 10 years old, I had a very nice English teacher. This is a true story. And one day I took my mother to my school and I said, "Mummy, we're going to meet my English teacher. You need to behave yourself, okay?" Okay. So my mother comes to my school and she meets my English teacher. And I said, "Teacher, this is my mother, Mrs. Humphreys. Mum, this is my English teacher, Miss Shufflebottom." And my mother said, "Hello, pleased to meet you, Miss Shufflebottom." Shufflebottom. I said, "Mum, you can't do that. That's her name. Don't make fun. You can't laugh." And my mummy said, "I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. This is a true story. Yes. My name is Mrs. Humphreys. Very pleased to meet you, Miss Shufflebottom." Shufflebottom. Her name is Shufflebottom. I said, "Mum, I can hear them. Mum, you're embarrassing me. You can't laugh in front of my teacher. Come on." Okay, last time. Yes, sorry. Yes, my name is Mrs. Humphreys. I am Neil Humphreys' mother. Very pleased to meet you, Miss Shufflebottom. Miss Shufflebottom, Miss Shufflebottom. Mum! And I never forgot that story. So when I remembered that story, what did I do? I wrote it down. I wrote it down, because funny stories are everywhere. Good stories, interesting stories are everywhere around you. They are everywhere. Where are funny stories? Everywhere. Very good. So I had a teacher. I had a teacher. I had a teacher's name. Me, Miss Shufflebottom. But now I needed other characters. Okay? I needed a boy to go with the princess. And there was a boy at my daughter's school, and I would watch him, because real characters, real stories, funny stories are everywhere. And I would watch this boy, little Charlie, and he wanted to be my daughter's friend. So I watched him at school, and he used to do this. "Hello, hello, 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 hello. Can I
can I sit with you? Can I sit with you on the school bus? Can I sit with you on the school bus? Please, can I? And my daughter would say, no. And he'd go away. Next day, come back. Hello. Can I sit with you in the school canteen? Can I sit with you? Please, can I sit with you? And my daughter would say, no. And the next day he'd come back. Hello. Can I play catch with you? Can I play catch with you? Can I play catch with you? Please. And my daughter would say, no. But every day, little Charlie would come along, and he was so kind and so sweet that I remembered him because he was a funny character. And there he is, little Charlie, a funny character. So when I remembered him and I saw his funny stories, what did I do? I wrote it down because funny stories are everywhere. Where are funny stories? Correct. Everywhere. Correct. Now, my favorite character that everybody likes, the one that everybody thinks is very funny. I needed a bully. I needed a bad character. Now, we had a school bully in my story. Do we like school bullies? No, we do not like school bullies. And here she is. Now, awful Agatha is the school bully in my book. And she is also from a real story, a real character. When I was at school, there was a boy called George. Now, George was the school bully. We don't like school bullies. I don't support school bullies, but George was a school bully. And one day he said to me, you, Neil Hemphreys, you are going to have a fight with me. I did not want to fight. Should we fight at school? No, we should not. We should not fight at school. But I had to go into the playground, and George was standing there, and George was saying, I'm going to fight you. I'm going to fight you. I'm going to fight you. And I was scared, and I was nervous, and I was worried. And all the children are standing around shouting, fight, 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 fight. I did not want to fight. But he's standing there, George, and he's saying, I'm going to fight you. I'm going to fight you. And I was very, very scared because I was scared, because I was nervous, because I was not thinking. I did something very, very funny and silly. He said, I'm going to fight you. I'm going to fight you. So I shouted, hit me. Hit me. Hit me, hit me, hit me, hit me, hit me. And George looked at me and said, what? I said, hit me, hit me, hit me. And George is looking at me. He's the school bully, and he has a boy that is telling him to hit him because I was so scared and so nervous and not thinking that I saw there were lots of teachers over there and over there. And I thought, if he hits me one time, he can go bang, and I can shout, ah, like a really bad actor, ah, and the teachers will hear me shouting, ah, and they will come and stop the fight. That was my thinking. Not very smart, but I was very, very scared. So George said, I'm going to hit you. I'm going to hit you. And I shouted, hit me, hit me, hit me. And then a very funny thing happened. The other children who were watching us started to sing a very funny song. When I said, hit me, all the other children started dancing and shouting, hit me, baby, one more time. Hit me, baby, one more time. Hit me, baby, one more time. And I got very scared and very nervous and very confused. So I said again, hit me, hit me. And all the children went, hit me, baby, one more time. 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 And everybody started doing what I can hear you doing right now. What do you think all the other children started to do? That's right. They laughed. They all started laughing. And when I said, hit me, and they said, hit me, baby, one more time. Hit me, baby, one more time. All the other children started to laugh. And even George laughed. So George and I did not have a fight. And I remembered that story. So that when I needed a bully for my book or for Agatha right here, I remembered George. And I remembered, hit me, baby, one more time. Hit me, baby, one more time. And I remembered that story and I wrote it down because funny stories are everywhere. Where are funny stories? Everywhere. I can hear you. Everywhere. So George became awful Agatha. So I had Agatha. I had Charlie. All I needed now is my number one character. I needed my princess, my secret, undercover princess who left her civil war in her country to hide in a neighborhood school, a heartland school, just like Red Swastika. I needed to bring in a character, Princess Sabrina. And I get all my characters from real stories, real people, real places. So let me ask you, where do you think my princess came from? Anybody? Where did my princess come from? Okay, I can hear some suggestions. I can hear some suggestions, even from here. I can hear some suggestions. You will not believe where my princess, my number one character, where she came from. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? You want me to show you? Are you ready? This is where my secret undercover princess came from. This is where I got the idea for my secret undercover princess. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Ta-da! Little India MRT. That's where my princess came from. Little India MRT station. Because real stories are everywhere. Where are real stories? Everywhere. And I'm going to prove it right now. Here we go. One day, I was walking with my daughter. She was 10 years old, and we were here at Little India MRT. And we were walking along, and my daughter was here, and I was here, and we were walking along. And I said to my daughter, okay, we're at Little India MRT. What do you want to have for lunch? And my daughter said, Did what? Don't talk to me. I said, what? I can talk to you. Don't talk to me. Look, I am your father. I can talk to you. I am your father. You are not my father. And I said, what? I am your father. No, you are not my father, because I am a secret princess. You are a secret princess? Yes. At Little India, MRT? Yes. And I'm not allowed to. Don't talk. I am a secret undercover princess. I am undercover. So you cannot talk to me. I said, if you are the princess, then I am the king. And she said, no, you are not the king, because you are too ugly to be the king. What? That's right. You are too ugly to be the king. I said, if you are the princess and I cannot be the king in Little India MRT, then what can I be? And she said, you can be my bodyguard, like my soldier. You can be my secret undercover soldier. And then she said, take out your gun. I said, I cannot take out my gun. I don't have a gun. If I had a gun at Little India MRT, I would be arrested. She said, never mind. Pretend you have a gun. So boys and girls, at Little India MRT, this is true. She made me pretend I had a gun like this, and I had to walk around Little India MRT pretending to be a bodyguard to my secret princess daughter. And she said, take out your gun and shoot that person on the MRT. I said, I can't do that. I can't go on the MRT. They will think I'm crazy. I can't do that. So I said, let's talk about your story instead. You are the princess, and I am the bodyguard with the secret gun walking around Little India MRT. That's a good story, but we need a bad guy, a villain. Who could be our bad guy in the villain and the villain? And my daughter said, I know, your school friend last time, George. You remember George? Hit me, baby, one more time. Hit me, baby, one more time. Hit me, baby, one more time. He can be the bad guy, the villain. Yes, that's perfect. So we have a bad guy, George, and we will call him Awful Agatha. We have a bodyguard, me. We have a secret princess, you. And why are we in Little India MRT? And my daughter said, because I've escaped from my country, because there is a war. I said, that's fantastic. Okay, that's perfect. Let's do that. So we put it all together, boys and girls, and this is absolutely true. Look over here. When we got off this train, my daughter came up with the idea of being a secret princess. Then we walked along here at Little India MRT, and she told me, you be the royal bodyguard, take out your gun. So we had the royal bodyguard here. Then we changed trains, Little India, and come down here. And that's where my daughter said, George, remember George? George is Awful Agatha. Princess, bodyguard, bully, put it together. What do we have? One whole story. The whole story for this book came in a 5-minute walk from Little India MRT. So when teachers say to you, Write me an interesting story. And you say, cannot, no imagination, no idea. Ideas are everywhere. 5 minute walk, Little India, MRT, gave me the story, the idea, the inspiration for the whole book, which became a best-selling book in Singapore. So remember, good stories, good characters, funny ideas are everywhere. Remember that. They are everywhere. Where are they? Everywhere. Very good. Very good. Everywhere. So let's remind ourselves. Princess came from my daughter. Little India, MRT. Charlie came from hello, excuse me, hello, can I be your friend? Hello, can I be your friend? Charlie. Awful Agatha from George. Hit me, baby, one more time. Hit me, baby, one more time. Hit me, baby, one more time. Teacher, me. And more. Teacher, me. Miss Shufflebottom, my English teacher. And the school came from all the schools I have visited in Singapore, just like yours. Because good stories, funny stories are everywhere around you. So I would like you to remember 2 things today. 2 things, and your teachers can remind you. Number 1, if you want to read, if you want to write, you must read first. Watch this. Can you see me? No. Can I run? No. I cannot run until I can walk. Walk first, then run. It's the same for writing. Read first, then write. Read first, then write. Read first, then write. The more you read, the better you write. The more you read, the better you write. The more books you read in this library, beautiful library, the more you will write. Number 1. Number 2, real life. The best stories are everywhere around you. You just have to look in your school canteen, in your classroom, in your library, on your school bus, at the MRT, at the bus interchange, at Bedok Central, at Bedok Mall, at East Coast Park. Good stories are everywhere. When you see them, remember them and write them down on a notepad, on an exercise book, on your phone, your iPad, your laptop, on your hand, anywhere. Just write them down, because good stories are all around you. Good stories are everywhere. Where are good stories? Everywhere. Correct. Everywhere. And I will prove it with one final funny story that is in my books that has everything that I just told you. So, are you ready for the last story? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Here we go. Now, look carefully. One day, I was with my daughter, and she was 5 years old. And I was going to Pulau Ubin to write a story for one of my books. Pulau Ubin is an island with a big green forest, and it was getting dark. So I said to my daughter, who was 5 years old, you sit on the back of my bicycle, but do not speak, do not shout, do not make a noise, because there are wild animals in Pulau Ubin, like this one, the wild boar. There are wild boars in Singapore. So do not scare the wild animals in Pulau Ubin. Okay? Okay, Daddy. Right. Shh. So I put my daughter on the back of my bicycle on the seat, and then we cycle into the dark forest of Pulau Ubin. This is a true story. It's in my book. Good stories are everywhere. So we cycle into the forest. It's very green and very late, and it's getting very dark. When suddenly we see this on the path in front of our bicycle, a wild boar, and it's making a sound like this. And I said to my daughter, shh, there's a wild boar on the path in front of us. Do not make a sound, or you could scare the wild boar, and the wild boar may charge at the bicycle, and we don't want that. Silence. Okay, Daddy. Shh. So, boys and girls, I took one foot off the bicycle and another foot off the bicycle, and I tiptoe, tiptoe, tiptoe towards the wild boar, getting closer and closer and closer and closer. And when I was right next to the wild boar, right beside the wild boar, my daughter on the bicycle jumped up and said, Lion King, Pumbaa, Pumbaa, Lion King, it's Pumbaa, Pumbaa, it's Lion King, I love Lion King, it's Pumbaa, Daddy, it's Pumbaa, it's Pumbaa, it's Pumbaa. And I said, be quiet, shh. And the wild boar went, I said, shh, look. You have scared the wild boar. You have made the wild boar angry. Listen to the wild boar. You must be silent. And anyway, it's not from Lion King. This is a warthog. This is a wild boar. They are not the same. Got it? Okay, Daddy. Shh. Quiet. So, boys and girls, I tiptoe again on my bicycle towards the wild boar, who is very scared and very, very angry. It's going, shh. Tiptoe towards the wild boar. Closer, 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 closer. And then, when I am right next to the wild boar, this close to the wild boar, I tiptoe, and my daughter says, Daddy, Lion King, it's Lion King, warthog, Pumbaa, Pumbaa, I love Lion King, it's Pumbaa, Pumbaa, it's Pumbaa, it's Pumbaa. And I said, would you please just beep, beep, beep. And then, boys and girls, my daughter said, Daddy, you said a naughty word, Daddy. I'm telling Mummy you said a naughty word. I said, don't tell Mummy about naughty words. Just don't make any more noise, right? Okay, got it. Shh, everybody, shh. Here we go. Tiptoe. No noise. Shh. Wild boar. Shh. Tiptoe. Wild boar. Tiptoe. And when we're right next to the wild boar, we are just passing the wild boar. On the third time, my daughter says, Lion King, Pumbaa, it's Lion King, I love Lion King, Pumbaa, Daddy, it's Pumbaa. I said, would you please just beep, 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 beep. And she said, Daddy, you said more naughty words. I'm telling Mummy, you said more naughty words. And the wild boar's getting angry. And she's saying, you said more naughty words. I'm telling Mummy, you said naughty words. I'm telling Mummy. I said, well, everyone in the forest, please just be quiet. And then, finally, she stopped shouting and the wild boar stopped saying, and we walked into the forest, and I went home. And when I got home, boys and girls, what was the first thing I did when I went home? What did I do? Anybody? Correct. Correct. Well done. I wrote it down. The whole funny story. Boomba, boomba, liking, boomba, boomba, liking. Because funny stories are everywhere around you every day. So write them down, because remember, funny stories are where? Everywhere. Correct. Well done. Thank you for listening so much today. It's been so wonderful to speak to the wonderful students at Red Swastika Primary School. Give yourselves a big round of applause. If it's very loud, I might hear you. Give yourselves a big round of applause for listening today. Well done, everybody. If you have any questions about writing or about my funny stories, maybe you can ask me afterwards. I will say hello in your classrooms. Just come around and say hello. All my books are here. Do you want to speak? Okay. Thank you so much for listening. Keep reading and keep writing good, funny stories. Thank you so much.
Neil Hemphreys. So just a very quick announcement. I'm sure all of you have enjoyed his talk earlier about his book. So if you're keen to order the books, okay, I'm sure all of you have received the flyers. All you have to do is to take it home and show it to your parents. If they say yes, you may have the books. Just get them to fill out the form that is attached to the flyer and hand it over to your to your class teacher, right? Okay, and Mr. Humphreys will be signing all copies of the books that you order. Right, so I think we have time for a quick Q&A. Right.
Okay, I'm told we're making technological history. Red Swastika, very school. Now, I'm told that I'm going to be asked questions from you right now about, how do I get back? About my books. Can you put my books back up? Okay, so if you have any questions, where do I find them? Are there questions? Okay, I'm waiting. I am waiting very excitedly for your questions about reading and writing and about my books, which are right there. So they're coming to your wonderful teacher, Miss April, right?
Yeah.
Yes, the questions are coming right now. So hang on, and I will answer your questions live. This is so exciting. I've never done this before. Okay. Thank you, whoever that question was, thank you. How many more questions, books, how many more books am I going to write? Well, very good news, actually. I tell you a secret. Don't tell anybody. You see, if children don't read books, then I'm not allowed to write anymore. But because you wonderful people have read so many of my books, I have to write more and more and more and more, which makes me happy. It makes these guys happy, and it makes your teachers happy. So I've written 2 princess books, but I've just finished a 3rd book, which is very exciting, and that will come out later in this year, which means that'll be 22 books. I've just written a book for grown-ups, an adult book, which is all about a police officer, a Singaporean police officer, and that comes out in June, and that will be book number 22 or book number 23. So really, how many books I write is not decided by me. It's actually decided by you. Like all the books in this wonderful library, the more books you read, the more books I and other authors can write. So keep reading and keep writing. New book coming soon. Akan datang, coming soon. Yes. Okay, very good. Now I write, can my books on the screen? Right, these ones over here are called Abbey Rose and the Magic Suitcase. Now they're from primary 1, maybe some primary 2 who are learning English for the first time. But those books are very exciting. They are very funny books about this young, confident adventurer called Abbey Rose, who goes to different places around the planet and tries to save certain animals and their homes. So in the first one, it's pandas. then dolphins, then penguins, then tigers. And my new one is about otters, which are from Singapore. It's about saving the smooth-coated otter in Singapore. So each of those books tells you little things about the different animals and where they live, and they're very funny. Then the older ones for P2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Princess Incognito. These are very funny stories about what it's like, and you know what it's like to be in a primary school and how you have to deal with your teachers and your friends and sometimes school bullies, and how we deal with school bullies and become friends. All those lessons that you have to learn in the school are in these books. But most importantly, they're very funny. Books should be entertaining. Books should always be entertaining. Otherwise, forget it. These books are very funny, and they will teach you lots of different things about being in primary school. Any more questions? We've got lots of questions. Hang on. This is very exciting. Wow, what a brilliant question. How long does it take for me to write these stories? Well, it's different for different books. These books are quite short. They're only about 1,000 words, but my character is only 5 or 6 years old. So I have to write, not like me, but I have to write like a 6-year-old. So my writing has to be perfect, because it must be just like a real 6-year-old. And then these books take me a bit longer because I'm writing not as me, but I'm writing as an 11-year-old student. So I have to write just like an 11-year-old student, which means, like you, I have to use my imagination and think, how would an 11-year-old girl or 11-year-old boy behave now? Or how would they think now? And I write it down. So these books take me about 2 months, 2 or 3 months. And this book takes me maybe 1 or 2 months because there's lots of illustrations that I work with. So what you need is a lot of concentration, a lot of passion, and a lot of focus. You must sit down and really concentrate on writing an entertaining, funny story. And they are very funny. Yes. Oh, we're almost out of time. So thank you so much for your wonderful questions. I hope you enjoyed the talk today. Did you enjoy the talk today? I'll wait. There it is. There it is. Fantastic. Beautiful. It's been a wonderful experience. You're a wonderful school with wonderful teachers and a wonderful library. So keep reading, especially my books, but not all my books. Read all books, as many books. Keep reading and keep writing. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you so much.